What are you at? It's Paul from Wicked Acorn. I hope you had a great weekend. I had a good time. And what are we doing today? Where are we? It's October 6th, and we have things to look at today from our last stream. Someone mentioned something in the last stream. We'll get to that in a moment. Hello, Rick. Hello, 1234. Good to see you there. We got a few people watching this evening. Um, there we go. I'll get used to these buttons and switches eventually. Today in history, what are we looking at today in history? It's October 6th. Today we're going far afield, but tomorrow we're going to be a little closer to home here in Greater Manchester. So our last photo was this place. So I'll just leave you with that for a moment so you can have a look and see if you can figure out where it is. Somebody guessed, I'll get to that in a moment. I'll show you our Brew Crew mug. You can get it in all different colors. And that pays for our tram tickets and train journeys and things to places around the country. So that's our mystery photo from the last live stream. And here is our mystery photo for the next live stream. Now, this one is in Greater Manchester, and we'll be looking at that tomorrow. This place. Any ideas where this place might be? Okay, I'll show you that again before we leave, but we'll get right to this day in history. Today in history, the 6th of October, we're going far afield. Today in history, the jazz singer. So this is something that's come up a few times, not the jazz singer particularly, but the 1927 film The Jazz Singer, starring Al Jolson, is widely recognized as the first feature-length talkie with synchronized dialogue and music, a landmark event that signaled the end of the silent film era and ushered in the commercial ascendance of sound in movies. The film's release on October 6, 1927, marked a pivotal moment, with audiences captivated by the novelty of synchronized sound in a feature film. So that's come up a couple times in the recent live streams we've done. We were talking about, what's her name, Violet Carson. I can never remember the character's name because it's not part of, Coronation Street was never part of my world. It was something Nan and Mom watched. It wasn't something I watched. I was aware of it, but I don't know anything about Coronation Street. A buddy of mine was so into it. He loved it, and they show it in Canada. It was I think it was a couple of weeks behind you guys, so I don't know if it's caught up in time and it's the same as nowadays. Ina Sharples, yeah, that's the character's name. I can never remember her name. Funny, I remember her real name. Violet Carson, I think, was her real name, the actor's name. And she was, her first job was a piano player for silent movies. That's what she did. And I guess she was put out of work. And that's how her acting career started. So she, yeah, she played piano for silent movies. It's amazing how technology changes the world so much. And the other one was the movie we watched. Was that Friday? We watched the one about the park over in Stalybridge with the movie, the Winifred Brown delivered by plane. So that was the first movie with sound, but it didn't have synchronized sound like the actors talking. I think it had a soundtrack and like explosions and stuff that played with it, but the actors' voices weren't heard. I think that was 1927 as well, so it wasn't long after that the jazz singer, the first talkie happened. So that was this day in history. And we'll get to our photo, our mystery photo, because that's a this day in history. So this place, now I don't know how to pronounce this, and I think it was Asterix was asking if it was Germany, and it's not Germany, but it may have been because there's two pronunciations of this castle, one in Czech and one in German. It's in Prague. So I'll try the Karlstein, I think is the German pronunciation. Karlstein Castle in the Czech Republic. It is. I still can't get used to Czech Republic. It's still Czechoslovakia to me. It is a large Gothic castle founded in 1348 by King Charles IV. 1V, that's 4, right? I was never good at Roman numerals. Charles IV. I don't think that's, we didn't have a Charles IV here, so not, not this country of the Czech Republic, Bohemia. The castle served as a place for safekeeping the imperial regalia as well as the Bohemian crown jewels, holy relics, and other royal treasures. Karlstein is among the most famous and most frequently visited castles in the country. It's about 19 miles from Prague. So somebody guessed Colditz at the end of the live stream on Friday. And it's not Colditz, but I'm glad you guessed Colditz because that's a great story. I need to look into that. There's a great story about Colditz Castle. And whoever guessed Colditz Castle, I'm sure, knows the story. And that's a story maybe we'll tell here someday. Great story behind the Colditz Castle. But the reason we looked at the, I've forgotten the name of the castle, Karlstein, was it? Is this guy. Any idea who this guy is? This guy, his name is Vladislav. And he was born on this day in history in 1289 in Prague. And he goes by another name that you'll probably know much better. Let me just switch screens here. Now we're going to watch a video that will tell us about this guy, and nobody wants to hear about Christmas quite yet. But we're going to hear about something that has something to do with Christmas, but not really. Because I'm getting ready for a Christmas concert. I'm doing research for this Christmas concert I want to do. And it's going to be an evening of song and history, the history of Christmas music and Christmas songs. Edward the Confessor? No, not Edward the Confessor, but yes, it does look like that. Yeah, I'm getting ready for this Christmas concert. So this is a video I found last year. Well, actually, it was this year. It was after Christmas in February or something. I came across this video when doing research for this Christmas concert. So this is the story of Vladislav from Prague.
Ahoy, and welcome to Prague, and welcome to another edition of the Masked Guide. Now, as you can see today, I'm not out and about on the beautiful streets of Prague because at the moment the weather outside is frightful, but my apartment is so delightful. So today it's going to be a bit like a Zoom meeting, which I expect that you're all familiar with by now. Apologies, I don't have a backdrop of the Golden Gate Bridge, the Eiffel Tower, or an impressive bookcase. No, just a poster of Jarda Zimmermann. Today, still an unrecognized Czech genius, and we're going to come back to him in a later episode. So now that you...
So this guy is the wicked Acorn of Prague. Some dispossessed, he sounds British, he's living in Prague, and he does history videos about Prague. So I guess he's the wicked Acorn of Prague. I'll put the channel name, it's the Masked Guide, you can see in the left-hand corner there. And I'll put a link to the video and his channel in the description afterwards.
All had a chance to look around at my background. Can we please just focus on today's topic, Wenceslas, in Czech, Václav, and now St. Wenceslas, who helped to establish Christianity in this country during the 10th century. And he is one of the 6 Czech patron saints. Most countries only have one patron saint, but no, the Czechs don't skimp when it comes to patron saints. Now those of you...
Anybody remember who the patron saint of Manchester is?
From English-speaking countries might recognize the name Wenceslas from the popular Christmas carol entitled Good King Wenceslas, and the two refer to the same person. So who was Wenceslas? Was he a king, and was he really good? Who murdered him, and why? Well, it is a story that has all the ingredients worthy of a plotline from the Game of Thrones. Betrayal, ambition, jealousy, and revenge. So what happened? Well, first, we need to go back over 1,000 years to the 10th century and the first Bohemian dynasty. Wenceslas.
So this is not about the song at all. It's about Good King Wenceslas. It's not about the song at all. That's another video that he does. So we're not going to look into that at all. This is the history of the man, the actual man Wenceslas. And whether the story from the song actually took place it probably didn't. It's a made-up song by an Englishman taken from a German carol, a German poem, a Czech poem. Anyway, the history of the song in itself is another story altogether. This is the history of the man Vladislav or Wenceslas.
1,000 years to the 10th century and the first Bohemian dynasty. Wenceslas was born around 907 into the Přemyslid family, who were the first dynasty to have a major control and impact over what would become Bohemia and the Czech lands. The dynasty lasted up until 1306, but in this video we're only talking about the time up till the assassination of Wenceslas in 935. So Duke Bořivoj, Wenceslas' grandfather, is seen as the start of the Přemyslid dynasty. Bořivoj converted to Christianity and married Ludmila, who was also very religious. They had 2 sons, Zbigniew and Vladislav. After Zbigniew died, his younger brother Vladislav became the heir apparent. Then he married Drahomira, and they had 2 sons, Wenceslas and Boleslav, and 4 daughters. Although Drahomira had been baptized before her marriage, it turns out that she was a closet pagan and the daughter of a pagan tribal chief, Haveli. So she didn't care about the Christian zeal from the other members of her family, and in time put her energy into trying to halt the spread of Christianity. After the death of Bořivoj and her husband Vladislav's untimely death in 921, the Bohemian nobles designated Drahomira regent for her son Wenceslas. However, she had to divide the government of Bohemia and the care of her son with her mother-in-law Ludmila, who took on the
So this bit is always boring, but necessary, I guess. I try not to do too much genealogy of people on Wicked Acorn channel. It's a little boring, the genealogy of these people, but it's part of the story nonetheless.
Of Bohemia and the care of her son with her mother-in-law Ludmilla, who took on the religious education of her son Wenceslas. Drahomira didn't like Ludmilla and was jealous of her Christian influence over her son. Ludmilla wanted Wenceslas to embrace the church and become a monk. Drahomira, with an eye to power, wanted him to remain a prince. There were also political differences too. Ludmilla favoured an alliance with Saxony, Drahomira with Bavaria. So in time, these tensions between them came to a boiling point when Drahomira decided that the only way forward was to remove any opposition to her ambitious plans. That meant she had to deal with Ludmilla once and for all. Ludmilla suspected that her life was now in danger, and so she fled from Prague to Tetchin Castle, which doesn't exist today. However, on the way, Drahomira's henchmen, Tunna and Gommen, tracked her down, attacked her, and strangled her with her own veil. Then Drahomira became sole regent and responsible for the welfare of Wenceslas, and also, being a pagan, started to make things difficult for the Christians. Despite being a teenager at the time, Wenceslas was not a pushover, and with the help of Christian noblemen took control and had his mother exiled. But Drahomira's plotting was far from over. She was still in contact with her other younger son, Boleslav. Wenceslas, being a Christian and a man of peace, wanted to avoid conflict, so he allowed his mother to return home from exile, and he divided the area he ruled over between himself and his brother Boleslav. But it wasn't enough for Boleslav. He didn't like Wenceslas' dealings with the Germanic kingdoms to the west. He thought Wenceslas too loyal to them. Boleslav wanted even more independence for the Czech state. Drahomira capitalized on Boleslav's dissatisfaction with Wenceslas, so she slowly and deliberately dropped her poison into the ear of her younger son to the point where she managed to convince him to murder his own brother. And so the plotting began. According to one biography, Boleslav invited Wenceslas to Stary Boleslav, situated about 35 kilometers northeast of Prague, to celebrate the feast of St. Cosma and Damian. After the service, Wenceslas accepted Boleslav's invitation to a banquet and to stay overnight. During the night, Boleslav plotted the murder of his brother with other conspirators. They would attack him as the prince went to church in the morning. The next day, as the prince went through the gate up to the church, his brother was waiting. They stopped to talk, and as Wenceslas was thanking his brother for his hospitality, Boleslav went to strike him with his sword. Wenceslas was able to defend himself, disarmed his brother, and hurried to the church door with the words, "God forgive you, brother." However, the door to the church was intentionally locked, and whilst holding on to the handle of the church door, he was attacked by Boleslav and his accomplices, and it said that Boleslav finished off his own brother by running him through with a lance. Ouch! However, some historians suggest that although a dispute between the two brothers did occur, Boleslav never intended to kill Wenceslas. They suggest rather that Boleslav's henchmen were confused and killed Wenceslas, probably because he was not carrying a weapon, and by trying to pass peacefully into the church, he clearly posed a major threat to their boss. Whatever the true events, the death of the most important Czech saint continues to generate numerous interpretations. After killing his own brother, Boleslav was filled with remorse and had his brother's remains interred in the St. Vitus Rotunda, built by Wenceslas on the site where today St. Vitus Cathedral stands at Prague Castle. The relics of St. Wenceslas are kept in the Wenceslas.
St. Vitus? Have you ever heard of St. Vitus? St. Vitus's dance? I think it's called St. Vitus's dance. Is that Lockjaw? St. Vitus's dance? I think it's Lockjaw. Oh, I don't know. Well, I'm not going to look it up right now. If you know, put it in the chat there. St. Vitus's dance. I think it's lockjaw. Oh, anyway, it's some kind of disease or ailment.
Cathedral stands at Prague Castle. The relics of St. Wenceslas are kept in the Wenceslas Chapel, and in September there is a national pilgrimage where the skull of Wenceslas is taken from Prague Castle to the site of his murder in 935 back to Stara Boleslav. And yes, it does look a bit macabre. Also, somewhat ironically, Boleslav's son, Boleslav II, also known as the Pious, helped enormously to establish Christianity in the country. In addition, scholars and historians agree that Boleslav the Cruel, as he became known for murdering his own brother, and his son, Boleslav the Pious, played a major role in helping to establish the Czech state, and built up forces that allowed expansion of the territory. Also, in time, Boleslav's ambition, which was to have a Bohemian king with a hereditary title that could be passed from father to son, was eventually achieved, with Ottokar I in 1212, when Bohemia was recognized as a full kingdom within the Holy Roman Empire and was given voting rights to elect future Holy Roman emperors. Also, the cult and legend of Wenceslas is ever present here, in many different forms. Although a duke, after his death he was given the title king by a German king, Otto I. Wenceslas is honoured and remembered for being a martyr, a saint who gave his life for Christianity, even though it is more than likely that his death was because of politics rather than religion. But his legacy has endured and has been built on over the centuries. The crown of Wenceslas, part of the crown jewels of Bohemia, was created for the coronation of Charles IV. And it is said that over the following centuries, that when the Bohemian kings took the crown, he was only alone. The crown always belonged and will continue to belong to Wenceslas. The Chorale of St. Wenceslas is a church hymn and one of the oldest known Czech religious anthems. Its roots date back to the 12th century, and in 1918, with the formation of Czechoslovakia, the chorale was a contender for the Czech national anthem. So as you can see here, Wenceslas is and will continue to be omnipresent, but his story has reached other shores. As I mentioned previously, the name of Wenceslas is linked to one of the most popular Christmas carols in the English-speaking world, but a carol which is, ironically, relatively unknown here. So, how a 10th century Bohemian prince became the subject of a popular Christmas carol has a fascinating story that, as the history guy would say, deserves to be told. But not today. We will reserve that for a time closer to Christmas. So there we are. That's the story of Wenceslas and the events surrounding his murder and untimely death. If any of you have suggestions about places, people or events you would like me to cover here in Prague, please put your suggestions and comments in the section below. In the next few videos, we're going to be looking at some of the sites, buildings and events in Wenceslas Square that have helped to shape the rich history of this country. If you have enjoyed this video, please don't forget to click and subscribe and hit the bell button so you get notified of future videos. And to play us out from this little video, we have a version of Good King Wenceslas performed by members of the Zimmermann English Theatre. So, take it away, boys. Good King Wenceslas.
Okay, it's a bit too early for that, isn't it? But yeah, this guy is the wicked Acorn of Prague, I take it. And I think this video was made during lockdown when, because he talks about Zoom meetings and stuff, and there's all his mates that he works with, I guess, sings with, and they're all doing a Zoom song. And it's pretty good. So I don't think he's made the follow-up video to this, the masked guide, the follow-up video about the history of the carol Good King Wenceslas, which is, as I say, another story unto itself. So how I'm going to turn this into an interesting story, obviously I'm not going to go into this kind of depth in a live concert setting. So I need to do research and find out the juicy bits that I can put in the song before I sing the song. Will I sing this song? Perhaps I will. Not tonight, though. I don't think I know the words. Anyway, that is that. And now I'm curious about Saint Vitus. Saint Vitus dance. Hmm. Sidahams, also known as rheumatic chorea, is a disorder characterized by rapid uncoordinated jerking movements, primarily affecting the face, hands, and feet. Sidham's chorea is an autoimmune disease that results from childhood infection with group A, blah, blah, blah. So this is St. Vitus dance. Have you ever heard of St. Vitus dance? I don't know why I would have heard of it. I think it's lockjaw. What's lockjaw? See, this is Jack in the Box tongue. Uh, anyway, it's some kind of disorder. Let's look up lockjaw. Is that St. Vitus dance? Uh, Here we go on a tangent again. You see, this is my world. This is the world I live in. St. Vitus dance. Oh well. Why would I know such a thing? Why? Where have I heard of that before? Strange. I don't know why I would know such a thing. How strange. Why would I know such a thing? Where would I have heard of this? Did somebody I know have this as a child? I don't know. I have no idea. Tetanus? Tetanus is lockjaw? Yeah, that sounds right. Um, why would I know of this thing, though? What a strange thing. It's something, it's not something I saw from, some doctor show like House or something like that. It's something I knew before that. It's something from my childhood. Maybe somebody I knew contracted it. Anyway, that that will have to be for another day. So I hope you enjoyed that, and make sure you leave any comments about a Christmas concert you can think of. Anything you want to hear or find out. Of course, it's all about saints and all those things. The story of Santa Claus is fascinating, absolutely fascinating. The story of Saint Nicholas is fascinating, and his remains were, oh God, I don't quote me on any of this. I think they're in Spain now, Saint Nicholas's remains, or Italy, but that's not where he was from. He was from, I don't remember, Iran or somewhere like that, or Iran. I don't remember where he was from, Saint Nicholas. Um, I'll have to get all that information together for the concert. But mm, anyway, some guys back in the 1400s or something went and stole his remains from his tomb in wherever it was and brought them to Spain or Italy or wherever it is now, where they remain to this day. And people go there, and like liquid drips out of his tomb. And of course, people collect it and drink it. And I was like, okay, man, whatever, whatever turns your crank. Yeah, it's supposed to have healing properties and all those kind of things, like you would imagine. But yeah, the story of Saint Nicholas is fascinating. That's after his life. Never mind the stuff he was up to in his lifetime. So that'll all be part of the concert. Uh, History things about Santa Claus, Saint Nick, Father Christmas, as you know him, and yeah, one of the interesting things I've found is the oldest Christmas carol that you know, because the oldest Christmas carol I know is probably not one you know. It's a Canadian Christmas carol. The oldest Christmas carol that people know is a Canadian Christmas carol. Now, the oldest one that you know is probably Greensleeves. There are older Christmas songs, but nobody knows them. They're, you know, only monks and musicologists know these songs. Um, so those Christmas songs don't count. They're like academia people study those things, and monks sing these songs. No one else knows these songs. The oldest Christmas song that you know is probably Greensleeves from the 1500s. You know, What Child Is This? Some people say it was written by Henry VIII. There's really no evidence that Henry VIII wrote it, but that's another tangent. The oldest Christmas carol is a Canadian one, and it's one that I know. All Canadians know this song. Is called the Huron Carol. And anyway, that'll be part of the show too. The Huron Carol. If you want to hear it, you can look it up. And we'll be doing that in the show too. The Huron Carol. It's the Huron is a Native American Indian tribe, and it's what is it? 'Twas in the moon of winter time when all the birds had fled, that mighty Gitche Manitou sent angel choirs instead. So it's a French priest made up the song and taught it to the Huron to teach them Christianity, the story of the birth of Christ. And it's in the Huron language. I can't sing it in the Huron language, but I will. I'm going to learn it. And I'll do at least one verse in Huron, and that'll be part of the show too. Well, that's it for today. Oh, we better look at our photo one more time before we go, because tomorrow is a story closer to home. It is this place. So there's our photo for the next live stream tomorrow night. Same time, same place. Bring your mug. And if you don't have one, go on Wicked Acorn and get one. They come in all different colors. I believe 1, 2, 3, 4 has a smiley face. There are different things on mugs too. And I think Astrex has a orange bee, if I remember correctly. And you can get your name put on them, or some kind of sentiment, or whatever you like. I can make whatever you want on these mugs. They're great Christmas gifts too. Let's not labor the Christmas point too much, though. I have to think about it. I don't have to impose it on you yet. So there's our photo for the next live stream. And yeah, if you come up with any ideas for the Christmas concert, let me know, or things that you'd like to know about. I'll do the research. You don't have to look into it, but if there's something that you've always wondered about, well, I wonder where that song came from. Drop a comment and we'll find out. So that's it for today, and we shall see you in the next one.